onto initiative. This is great. It's very kind of like synonymous with attacking chess, is exploring initiative. So ways to get the attack rolling forward and really never stop. And as you have the initiative, and also it's very subtle. It's not necessarily that you need to crush into a rock, but more like you would like to build up the game and continuously put that pressure. So now I started off this game with knight to f3. This is a game versus a Swedish champion, Anna Kramling. That's daughter of the great Pia Kramling, and actually Grandmaster Juan Belon. So it was an honor to have their daughter compete in my Blindfold exhibition match in Stockholm. I had a certain vision for this game, and I knew what I wanted to make happen. I know my opponent is very strong and quite competent with the openings, so I wanted to play something just a little bit more subtle, and this is definitely a lesson you can carry away as far as the opening goes. So after c4, certainly c6 is one of the best moves you can play, not particularly overextending. And just keeping that balance. This is a great choice for players who want to play Slav type of position. I keep my plans flexible at this point. I just go and play e3 and waiting to develop my light pieces before I commit to pushing d4. At this point, Black continue with e6, and as I said, I'm not pushing d4 quite yet, which would transform into Slav, Miran. I play b3, go ahead and develop my bishop over to b2, at which point bishop d6 and queen to c2, pretty normal stuff, and Black castles. Now at this point, this was my idea. I wasn't sure exactly how to make it happen, several moves ahead, but I did have that idea in mind, almost to a point of just pushing g4 right away. But if you try to do some crazy like this, you'll just weaken your position and lose a pawn, say rook to g1. I guess maybe that's not too bad, but certainly the kind of complications that need too much calculation, and this is not the kind of energy that I wanted to spend at this point. Certainly looks like Black is going to be able to defend, at least in the short term. So I figured I'll keep the idea of g4 in mind and solidify with just simply playing h3 first. Now, rook g1 is another possibility, but I didn't want to overcommit and weaken h2, for example. It just seemed like h3 gave me a little bit more flexibility there on the king side. So here Black can certainly get active and ambitious with e5, pushing in the center, at which point White needs to do some drastic, and at this point, as we trade, best option for Black actually is just take with the knight, and this position is certainly preferable for White. This kind of very nice type of Sicilian, and there's different ways for White to just continue nice and even and put pressure on Black's position. I take White in this situation any day. Now, if pawn takes on d5, we're going to jump with the knight over to b5, putting pressure on e5. Bishop goes back to b8, and after rook c1, there's ideas of knight c7. This stuff is not easy at all, and certainly there's some interesting complications, but for now let's keep on it and just say, hey, Black had reasons to not push in the middle quite yet, and Anna, realizing that that might be the case with my potential play on the queen side with the knight coming in, she got a little cautious there with a6, which gave me time to go for my idea right there on the king side. At this point, Black decided to connect with the center, but did so in I'd say in a less of a solid way, okay, which basically, even though e4 is a nice outpost to have, it's not quite an outpost, since things can get quite volatile pretty quickly there, and the e4 square is not possible to explore at this point. Black needs to retreat back over to e8. Actually, h5 was probably a little bit more precise, just kind of blocking off white's game on the king side. But certainly, as white builds up with, say, d4 here, this is a good solid edge for white. Now, knight went to e8. I was very happy with the situation. I pushed the knight backward, but I pushed the knight back to d7, and certainly got a very comfortable edge in this position. This is exactly what I wanted to get in this game. I played bishop d3. That's a very proactive kind of idea, since if I just played h4, or say made a long castle, black has the opportunity of playing f5, and now in a regular game this might not be too bad, since I can still outplay, make strategic plans, but here in this position I just don't want the whole game to get locked up, since taking on f6 is a huge commitment, since the f file opens up as well. So I didn't want to make my life complicated. I figured I'd put the pressure on the king side right away and make black commit to a course of action. Black decides to play g6. h4 is nice and natural, building up my game on the king side. Black defends, and at this point I simply go ahead and long castle. Black decides to strike on the queen side. I need no extra complications there on the queen side, so I just lock up the game with c5, push the bishop away, and at this point I just strike right there in the middle. e4, putting pressure, and in combination with executing h5 at some point, taking over the middle squares, I should be winning this game, at least from a strategic standpoint. Now black continued picking up the pawn on e4, allowing my knight right there into the middle. So at this point I feel like this game was decided, at least from the way it's flowing. It doesn't seem like black is really going to have any chances here. I am about to open up the game here with h5. There's really no stopping me, since I can easily get rid of this knight on h5. I'm taking over this e5 square. A simple math once again, coming back to that concept. You got I got call it 7 pieces in the game. Black's got all of the pieces, just about whatever those pieces are, cramped, somewhat defending, but really not that connected, not very resourceful. The bishop on c8 is dead, preventing black from proper coordination here. So black decided to just kind of wait around, maybe create the opportunity of jumping over to f4, but really this is not enough. I just take over the middle. Now there's really no good options for black at this point. Taking the knight means more outpost for white. Black is completely dead here, and if you let my knight be there on e5 nice and comfortable, then you're just asking for trouble. a5, finally getting a little game going on the queen side, but this is certainly too little too late. I continue my momentum there on the king side, and this is not even all too principled to really explore too deep. Knight takes h5. Yes, I could certainly wait a moment, but looks like if I strike there on the king side, this will really decide the game. At which point, I can just simply play f4 and solidify. It's not like sacrificing the rook, the exchange changed much. I'm still about to throw all over my pieces against black's king there. And black doesn't really have a good way to take advantage of that extra exchange. I can also try to play quicker with some ideas of, let's say, knight d6, knight f6. Looks pretty strong, maybe queen e2. That's probably the very best move. So yeah, black doesn't have much of a chance to survive here. Black decided to just throw the knight forward, at which point I say, hey, once again, the exchange is really not such a big deal to hold on to it, and actually encourage black to go and get some stuff by just playing f4. Most importantly, my queen connects with the kingside opportunities, and really black is helpless. Black needs to get the knight over to f8 to at least defend against the mate. But at this point I penetrate over through f6 exchange, and now I have the additional resource of pushing f7, and look, this diagonal here is going to decide the game. So black tries to defend with rook d7, at which point it would be silly to give up this beautiful knight for a meaningless rook there on d7. It's not a bad piece at all, rook d7, considering it's doing the defensive abilities, but look at this knight on e5, it's just spectacular. Okay, so now I go ahead and just throw more pieces into the game, coming back to the same concept of simple math. You know, just bring, if you don't see some working out in your favor right away, a lot of times you really have to make it work. Try to make it work, but then a lot of times as well, you can just bring more pieces into the game and take that time and build up that pressure, build up that potential in your game. Get that extra player in the field, and you get that you're gonna take advantage of that scoring opportunity. So rook goes over to g1, and it's becoming obvious I'm about to strike right there on g6. So before I do that, I actually simplify, get rid of the defender on f5, and as that happens, I calculated here and realized that this didn't come to me right away, especially as you are aware, this was blindfold chess experience, and maybe just a little bit tougher to switch over to the game and just find the finishing maneuver right away. But as you could tell, this is something that I did go for, and this is what decided the game. Knight takes g6. Boom. What can black do about this? So black decides to capture with a knight. If pawn takes, we can come right in, right here. Queen to g7. If king keeps on going forward, it's pretty obvious there'll be a mating idea here on e5, at least winning a queen. So for example, king goes to d5, we just push for f7, and I mean, this is one way to go. There's still this check, king goes to b1, and then you want to go finish him off with rook e5. I bet you this is gonna work, but you know, there's got to be other ways to win the game as well. Now king goes to e8, that makes it even easier. Rook e1 check, the knight on f8 is hanging. So my opponent went for knight g6. I went ahead and sacrificed the rook, came in with a queen, and right about here, well actually not right about here, I saw this a few moves ahead, and that's the ability of blindfold chess. This is really truly the #1 way to improve your over the board game through blindfold chess, is to be able to be patient in the opportunities where you can focus in, take your time, and visualize what's going to evolve over the next few moves and see if your combination truly going to succeed. So we're kind of going pretty fast pace here. still try to, maybe stop a video here and there and then try to think, take over this kind of contemplative mindset and really train your ability to play blindfold chess in calculation. So here, this is easy. Queen goes to g7. We could certainly bring the rook over to h7, but that is not necessary. King needs to go to e6, otherwise gets mated on the 8th rank. And here's the cool thing, rook to e1. My opponent resigned here. Well, guess what? King to d5. White's got the finishing touch. And truly, indeed, that is sacrifice on d7. Nice little finish. If queen captures, then we're gonna throw that rook right in there on e5.